Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. This video talks about a man called Stephen Fry who has given an interview as regards what God is and what God is not. In this interview, he raises the question that there's so much injustice in this world that it cannot be accepted that a God has created this world. The assumption here is that because of the injustice present in this world, there's no reason to believe that a God has created this world. If a God had created this world, then there should have been no injustice. So, this is the basic assumption in this claim. Moreover, he also says that if a God has created this world, then why has he kept diseases like the bone cancer in children and the eyeworms of children and other such diseases? These are the two questions raised by him. He also says that God is a maniac and a monstrous being. So let's come to the logical points that he raised without delving into the partial understanding of God that Stephen Fry has. The point that he raised that injustice is an evidence of the non-existence of God is totally false. Injustice, on the other hand, in contrast, is the proof of God. For example, there are so many people who are killed for nothing. They are unjustly killed. There are so many people who are unjustly imprisoned. There are so many people whose wealth is unjustly taken away, stolen. There are so many people who are unjustly beaten. So there are a number of people who are subject to oppression and suppression and repression. Many people, most of the people on this earth die without getting justice. Though the judicial system that is functional in many countries gives some people justice, but it fails to give all the people justice. This is an evident fact to everyone. So the presence of injustice is an evidence of the fact that there should be a day on which justice is delivered to everyone. This is not an evidence of the fact that that day should not be there. The evidence points out to the contrary. So it is a part of partial thinking on the part of Stephen Fry and other atheists. Now, the second point here is that why God has created diseases. Point number one here is that there is no creation, whether by the creator or by human beings, that is without defects. For example, the laptop. It was created by the human being, but it also has defects or diseases. For example, viruses. For example, any other defect. Sometimes the CD disk does not work. Sometimes the hard disk runs in goes does not work properly. There is no machine on this earth which does not have faults, though it was designed to be without faults. So faults are inevitable in any creation. The second point is that there's a difference between human creation and the creation of the creator. Had the creator wished, he would have kept the human body perfect. He would not have kept any faults in the human body. He would not kept have any diseases. But this was not the wish of the creator because there is some logic behind this. If a tyrant who terrorizes people, who oppresses people, who represses people, If he does not fall ill ever in his life, he'll believe that nobody is above him. Also, he will believe that he is dependent on nobody. When he becomes dependent on the doctor, there he gets an impression that only the coexistence of human beings is possible. A human being cannot exist on its own. Societal life is important, social order is important. So there's a feeling of respect for other people in his heart. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala had this hikmat in his uh, decision that there should be diseases. Moreover, when one gets diseased, he remembers the creator more. So this is also a method of remembering the creator. Third thing is that once there are diseases, the creator also has given us the medicine for the diseases. So there are two professions: collection of the medicines, extraction of the medicines, and prescription of the medicines. So three professions come into being. There's the doctor, the physician, the doctor or physician, the compounder, and the collector. So this gives livelihood to a very huge amount of people. So this was also a hikmah in the decision of the God Almighty, that once He will create diseases, it will no doubt create suffering to people, but the benefits that we get from diseases will far exceed the the benefit we get from disease will far exceed the losses that we are getting from it. It also cultivates rational thought in the human being that if you have got diseases, then you have to treat them with medicines, which you have to search. So this inculcates a habit of struggle in the life of a human being. A life without struggle is just non-existent life. One more fact that Stephen Fry raised is that why we have to thank God all the time. This fact is not understood by those atheists or irreligious persons who never have indulged in remembrance of God. The fact is that when you remember God and thank Him, it gives you a peace of mind and it gives you peace of heart. This effect is known as sakina in Islam. This sakina is a powerful effect which affects your heart, and it readies you for to face the challenges of life better. Tranquility descends upon you when you remember God. This thing is not appreciable to the human mind unless one indulges in the practice of this fact. So you cannot know what is the effect of the prayer unless you pray yourself. This is similar to the case where you cannot know the taste of the apple without tasting it. Only just explaining the taste of the apple is irrelevant and illogical. Similarly, explaining the effect of sakina is also irrelevant. So it also cleanses the heart, which is also impossible for atheists to understand unless they indulge in this practice. So these are the foolish, illogical assumptions and questions and objections raised by Stephen Fry against the existence of God. One more objection that has been raised by the anchor in that video is that there's not enough evidence for the existence of God. I mean, this is totally illogical. The creation of the God is the biggest evidence of the existence of God. The creation of the presence of the DNA, which is the code that programs the life, is the biggest evidence of the existence of God. The DNA is a written information which is present in every cell, be it a germ cell or a symbolic cell. So it's impossible for the nucleotides to come together in a definite sequence to form the DNA. So it points out to the fact that this should have an assembler. Oh, this DNA, the DNA being the biggest proof of the existence of creator, will be discussed in a separate video. In this in the same way, there are other creations of God which are also an evidence for the existence of God, just as the existence of a laptop demands the existence of its creator, maker, manufacturer, etc. The existence of a human being and the existence of animals and plants and this earth, etc., demands the existence of the creator. Now, this they are the logic to defy this argument, known as the blind watchmaker, which is so foolish that it doesn't make sense at all. That will also be taken care of in a separate video. The blind watchmaker argument, which says that only the probability may assemble things into order, which is again against the law of thermodynamics, which says that entropy of the world increases. The scope of this video does not allow the discussion of that thing. So, in conclusion, the objections raised by Stephen Fry are due to arrogance, and they are not based on sound foundations of knowledge, intellect, and understanding. These are some preconceptions in the mind of these people who are atheists who raise these objections. They should think logically and with an open mind.